Hi friends, welcome back. Today I thought I'd show you a little bit of my felting. I layered some wool. I showed you my drawing there. I have some felting tools, scissors, and a little brush here that's really nice. Instead of a sponge, I actually prefer it over the sponge. And I'm just getting my shape here. It's kind of a rectangular at the moment, but it's going to go into a shape as almost like a number 8 to get my shape for my violin. Here I'm just getting in the center here, getting that little waist part of the violin in, and just making it kind of at this point look like a peanut. I have a little darker brown in the center and I have a lighter reddish brown on the outside. I didn't want to use the whole bunch of my red brown that I had. I didn't have too much left and I wanted to preserve it, so I used the other wool as my core inside wool and had the wool that I want showing on the outside. So I do cover up some of the black or the darker brown that you see there eventually, but I'm just going over it to kind of get it pushed together. So I was thinking about this, and as I was thinking about it, when you're felting along, it's kind of like carving, but instead of carving away wood or a piece of soap or a stone or whatever you're carving, you're kind of pushing the wool in. It's totally opposite. So it's still like carving, but you're pushing it all in into itself and shaping it. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of like doing clay. I don't know. So I just thought of that about that when I was doing this, that I thought it was like the opposite of carving it in a way. Here's my violin picture. Eventually gets to that size. I'm using a piece, a canvas board, flipped backwards. I actually use this to also do some of my smaller diamond paintings as a table on my lap. And I'm just doing this in the living room, enjoying my time with the girls and felting at the same time. You can see me covering it up a little bit, some of the darker brown. It's almost black. Actually, that's the color I used for the handle of my violin or my Stalk. I can't remember what it's called at the moment and stuff. So I didn't use black. I just used a very dark brown. And it's still peanut shape. And I'm just keep going because I got a ways to go yet. So this is just the beginning to make it into the size of my drawing. I had no idea how much to pull out. I just did what I thought was close to what I needed, and I guesstimated, and just it's something that you just play with and practice. One of the reasons why I decided to have some felting on this video, or I mean in this channel, is not because I want to switch my channel up or anything like that. I just enjoy felting. It's just something I kind of picked up because I got gifted a gift card from Michael's and I didn't know what to buy, and I didn't want to pick up something that was going to sit, and I thought I'd try something new to see if I liked it, and that's what I did. So yeah, I want to share with this a little bit with you because all these projects that I'm doing are the first time here, and I'm not a tutorial, like this is not a tutorial on how to do it, this is how I did it. And I'm hoping you guys are watching and enjoying, seeing that you can try new things and play along and discover you really like something. Here's some different tools. This is like a 7-needle thing. Here I'm pinching, here I gotta slow this down maybe. I'm pinching the ends to the little curls, the little C of my violin, and I actually just pinched them out. I didn't do nothing fancy, just pinch them out, and then later on I just kind of stab around them to get them, stab, yep, that's a term for felters, around to get the wool in. So the thing is that you want to stab that wool together, you want to mix those fibers, and each time you do that it pushes it in and it kind of ties it together, and there's little I'm trying to think, prongs or whatever on the needles, and that's what they do. They just push it together, and it's such a neat fiber. Wool is so awesome that I could do that. It's just awesome to felt and form different things, objects with it, and it's a fun challenge. So I had a friend who wanted to give her kids a little felted thing, and I decided to make her daughter a violin, because she plays violin, and she wanted a sloth for her son, so I'm going to make a sloth for her son, and I thought it'd be really cute to try it out and then give it to her. So I told her I'd make her one, and that's what I'm doing. So here now I am working on the handle part, the stalk I guess, of the violin. I'm going super fast with it, and it's really hard to tell you, show you guys what I'm doing, but this brush is really useful because the fibers don't really stick to it as much as they do a sponge, and I'm able just to flip it around and work on it. I find the brush really useful. It's my favorite thing to work on rather than a sponge. Yeah, I don't know what I want. I'm working the wood end of the handle, and I'm twisting into like a little miniature donut type of thing. Not a donut, what I'm thinking of. Anyways, and I'm just twisting it up and just inventing it as I go, because I don't know what to do. But it all is stiff and holding together, and it worked. So I'm just kind of made up as I went. And like I said, this is not a tutorial on how to do it. This is what I've done, and I want to share that with you guys, that you can just kind of go with the flow and learn on your own. And yeah, you can follow tutorials as well, but you can just play with things and have fun and go for it. Don't be afraid because it's something new and you don't know how to do it. So pretty much all I'm doing here is like, this is like an hour of really pushing that guy together, like just shaping it, pushing it together. You want a firm piece, so then it doesn't come apart, and it's not too squishy. I mean, there's other pieces that you might want that way, but for this particular piece I want it nice and firm. And the more I felt down, the more I get into that little shape of my drawing that I wanted there too. And you can get it as tight and as firm as you want, and you can leave it as loose as you want, but I found that you can make a pretty solid piece, so that's really fun and cool. Makes it really interesting if you're making little toys for kids and stuff, because I made some fish for my grandson, and you know, you can make little eggs, little fruit, vegetables and that kind of thing for kids for fun too. And if you make them nice and firm, they're safe and they don't come apart too easy at all. It takes a lot. It takes a cat or a dog to pull them apart, because I know I left my felting out and they like to pull them apart. But they still take a little while, so. I hope you guys are enjoying the violin music I chose for this, just for the obvious reasons. So yeah, I know my hand's in the way, but I had no choice to record on this side just because of my plugins where it was. But it's basically just what I'm doing now is just adding the little pieces. I don't know what they're called. The front. I think on the ukulele I would call them where the chord, where I can't even think right now. Frets are. I had to think, and I don't know what they're called on the violin, if they're called frets or not. So that's what I'm kind of making, is that area and the lower part there, and then there's like a floating bridge that I'm kind of putting in there too for my strings. And oh, at the back here I'm just making the little back, there's a little piece of wood that I noticed that was missing. On my back of my ukuleles I have just this little piece of wood that comes up onto my stalk, or whatever it's called, and I thought the violin should have that too. I didn't see a back picture of a back of a violin, but I thought it should have that as well. And then I just use some thin embroidery thread and pulled it apart for these strings, and I put 4 strings on there at the end here, and I just added more felt to make sure they're felted in. And yeah, so I kind of played with the end of my handle here. I'm calling everything the wrong thing, where you would twist your strings. So I just made up my little ends there, and kind of winged it for that. But I just had lots of fun with this little piece, and added the little piece where your chin, or it goes on your chin. I don't know what that's called. I was gonna add a bow, but I did not, because it just looked odd, and I wanted to keep this all felt and not add any wire or anything. I went this far with the stalk and everything not to add wire or anything, so I didn't want to add that to the bow. So I think for now I'm going to leave it out. Maybe I'll figure out a nice way to make one that'll look decent. I don't know. But the video took long enough just for the violin itself without the bow, so that's that. I did add a little bit of detail. It's really hard to see what I'm doing. What I'm trying to do here is make that stalk, I think that's what's called, the stalk, the handle, a little bit shorter, just to match my drawing there. I just traced that violin off of my phone, and that's the size. It was an accurate size, and so I was just going by that little picture that I traced off my phone. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's not quite a tutorial, but it was just something I wanted to share with you. And if you guys have little projects that you want to try out, these are fun. So yeah, give felting a try if it's something that's you're ever interested in. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.